I think Bitcoin is on its way to new all-time highs, and I think Bitcoin miners could be on their way to new 2024 highs. So in this video, I want to tell you how high I think those highs are. My name is Royce Jacob, and welcome back to Waves Capital. All right, you guys, simple, sweet. Today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, Riot Platforms, and Marathon Digital on the charts. I'll talk to you about my price targets to the upside, as that intro and the title of this video would imply, but I could be wrong. As always, trader, not a fortune teller, and we could continue to fall further. Okay, this could just be a little dead cat bounce that we're seeing right now. So I'll play over both sides, the bull and bear arguments, talk about upside and potential short-term downside price targets. Ultimately, I think the medium to long term is going to be up. I think it's going to be a hot summer, but maybe we see a pullback in the short term. Overall, I'm bullish on the short term and the long term, but again, just going over pretty much every scenario that I personally imagine panning out over the remainder of the month of May and then into June, July, August over the summer. Okay, so that's the video. Before we kind of just talk technicals, because this is a very technically focused video, let's just quickly go over some of the fundamental catalysts that are leading myself and many others, I know most of you guys, to be bullish on Bitcoin at this moment in time in late May of 2024 going into the summer months. Okay, one, we just had the halving. We're about a month into the halving happening. So far, so good. We got, of course, a little bit of sell the news upon the halving itself. Not surprising there, but since then we have recovered. The halving is objectively bullish for Bitcoin. Supply and demand economics 101. When you cut the incoming supply of something, okay? Granted, you have the same level of demand, and in this case, a higher level of demand, heightening levels of demand. That's good for the price of the asset. Okay. Two, Bitcoin ETF. Okay. That happened a while back, but we're still in the grand scheme of things in as far as how much longevity and longer term bullish effects will come from this ETF approval and just institutional adoption and institutional engagement in Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ecosystem, cryptocurrency ecosystem overall. We got the Ether ETF. That's just bullish, although Ether doesn't have any direct impact on Bitcoin or Bitcoin miners. It's still the second largest cryptocurrency in the world. It's good optics, and it's good for just the overall ecosystem. And once again, optics around the cryptocurrency ecosystem as a whole. Okay, got that. I mean, those are the two big ones. Aside from that, Bitcoin is just looking good on the charts, so that's what we're going to talk about. I believe we have, again, don't always base. This is the cherry on top a lot of the times of a thesis I have. When you see TradingView reading a strong buy on its technical meter, they have a whole bunch of varied under the surface indicators that they're looking at to establish that rating. It's usually just a good sign of what's to come. Again, I'm bullish on the short, medium, and long term for BTC, if I'm being honest. But let's quickly kick it off just by talking about what could possibly go wrong in the short term, although things are looking very bullish. 4-hour Stokes, 4-hour candles are my preferred candles to use for short to medium term price action. And right now we're looking good. 4-hour RSI has just climbed back above its EMA or exponential moving average. That is bullish. While 4-hour stochastic RSI has just seen a nice organic swoop to the upside. Blue line crossed over red to the upside. Both very, very bullish indicators from, once again, a short going into short, medium term time horizon. And that's what leads me to believe that ultimately in the short term, we don't fall to test the line of resistance. Line of support here, this red line, this line of medium-term support on what you could say is, kind of an ascending channel, definitely an ascending channel formation, sprawling out a little bit, but I don't think this is likely. This is, in my mind, the worst case scenario. Of course, it could be worse than that. It's Bitcoin. Crazy things happen. But in my mind, from a technical perspective, this is the worst case scenario over, Memorial Day weekend. Salute to all those who serve. Happy Memorial Day to all of you. 3-day weekend. We love it. But I do think that worst case scenario, we fall like 6%, test this line of resistance, back to the races after that. Now let's focus on the fun stuff. Okay, so if we were to climb in the short term, which I think, once again, given these RSI indicators is extremely likely, more likely than not, I do think that we'll come up to test this line of broken support, this green line right here, as new resistance. if we hit that over the next day or two, okay, over the weekend, that would take us up just about 5% to $72,000. If we can break above the high we saw just a few days ago on May 20th, that would also result in, and we can close a daily candle because we haven't really been able to do that just yet. So let's actually go to daily candles. I believe we did close a daily candle above this, but that was a little bull trap. You know, Bitcoin, king of the crypto markets, king of bull and bear traps. Can't be surprised. Okay, so if we were to retest this line of broken resistance, broken support as new resistance, TA 101, this green line right here, over the weekend, that would take us close to new highs, but over the line of resistance a pretty long-term resistance. It's been in place since March at Bitcoin's recent all-time high, the last all-time high at about $74,000. It would take us around there, or it takes above that line of resistance that's been in place since the previous all-time high. And it would also take us above the previous local short-term top that we saw back just a few days ago. Okay, so I'll just say if we can break, I can safely say if we break above $73,000 and close a day above $73,000, then I do think Bitcoin is going to start ripping. I do think that we head to my pretty much macro targets of the lines of resistance on this megaphone channel you can see right here. And if we do break above this line of resistance that we just discussed, that I just said like 4 times, then I do think that 80,000 plus will follow shortly thereafterwards. Okay, the reason for that, again, these are my conservative line of resistance, the lower line, and absolute line of resistance on this long-term megaphone channel. It is called a megaphone channel because it's shaped like a megaphone. So that's my take on Bitcoin. Again, bullish, as I implied in the intro. And obviously, if I'm bullish on Bitcoin, the markets are looking pretty good. Small caps shaping up well. I'm bullish on Bitcoin miners too. Okay, so let's take a look at Riot and close it out with Mara. Before we do, if you want to know how I'm trading Bitcoin miners, how I'm not only trading names like Riot, call options on Riot, but every other call option in my personal portfolio, every put option I have, how I'm hedging, what I'm taking profits from my positions, how I'm weighting my positions, literally every trade I make on a day-to-day basis. And then obviously I write my trade alert newsletters, in-depth newsletters explaining my actions. It's the first link in the description of this video. It's $15 a month or $40 for every 3 months. It's completely up to you. If you do choose to join, then welcome to the winning team in advance. And if not, no worries at all. I appreciate you watching this video right here, right now. So, Riot Platforms. Let's zoom in here and then we'll talk about that price target. Riot Platforms is not looking, if I'm being honest, not looking very good. Okay. And I will say we covered the fundamental aspects of Bitcoin, why Bitcoin is looking very bullish. And you could say that one of those aspects is bearish for Bitcoin miners, which is the Bitcoin halving, due to the fact that virtually, if Bitcoin was to stay at the same price, then the revenue that the miners receive, granted they have the same hash rate capacity, is going to stay stagnant. Okay, so they're not growing. That said, Bitcoin, because I believe Bitcoin is on its way to new all-time highs, and miners just really got sold off in the wake of that halving and all of the FUD and just kind of the negativity surrounding the halving. I think it's more psychology driven and pricing in the worst case scenario from the halving. Again, Bitcoin coming down while miners really just kind of stagnating in price. I think we got oversold. I do think that miners are undervalued right now. And that is my fundamental bull argument for miners. Okay, so Riot, again, really not looking very good from a technical perspective, but I will say this right now, and we can just get rid of this completely, okay? What looks really bullish to me, and what I'm now very confident is going to play out, I shouldn't say very confident, but more confident than not, is this inverse head and shoulders pattern. I'm sure some of you saw that as well, okay? So, inverse head and shoulders pattern. The angelic, the good twin of the head and shoulders pattern, which is a bearish pattern, okay? So in the case that this inverse head and shoulders pattern plays out, I think that will probably come up to right about here, about 12.15. So if that's the case, and again, this looks like a pretty textbook inverse head and shoulders pattern to me, which also makes me believe that Bitcoin is much likelier than not to climb over the weekend, because that's just, things just fall into place like that sometimes. Technicals, if you don't believe in them, and if you don't believe in kind of the weird ethereal nature in which they work at times, you haven't been watching them long enough. Things just play out, and it's inexplainable sometimes. That's just the nature of the markets. It's weird, it's creepy, but that's how it rolls sometimes, okay? But anyway, I do think that Ether does does resolve, I should say, this inverse head and shoulders pattern. I would say my target for this inverse head and shoulders pattern is going to be about $12.15, this high we saw back in late April. And then, if we can break above this, if we can break above like $12.75, $13 just to play it safe, I do think that we will be on our way to testing the line of resistance, a very proven line of resistance. It's been in place since July of 2023. Super long-term line of resistance. If Bitcoin keeps rallying, if Bitcoin crosses 100K, June, July, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Riot break this line of resistance. But just to play conservatively, that will be our target for now. And, if we break above $13, I'll post another video and we'll get excited from there. Okay. Again, if you want my daily takes on Riot, literally cover Riot in my newsletters every single day on the charts and my analysis. Riot Bitcoin render token most of the time as well. That is the first link in the description. Is again, it's not only my portfolio and my trade alerts, it's my price targets newsletters as well, where we just take a look at charts and talk about stuff like this every day. Okay. First link in the description. Last time I'll plug that. Let's close it out with Miss Mara. Okay, so Mara looking much cleaner from a technical perspective. This is way more satisfying as a technical analyst to look at and to trade as well. So Mara looking good. Did discredit this short-term head and shoulders, again, bearish head and shoulders scenario by breaking above that sideways range right there today. Looking good. Mara, I mean, I'd be surprised if we don't come up to test the line of short-term resistance, especially if Bitcoin rallies over the weekend. That would result in a climb of 10 to 11% for Mara. From there, again, if Bitcoin breaks to 85, 90, 100K, Mara will most certainly be breaking this outside of this ascending channel pattern. And you can just draw all the trend lines you want right here. These would be the two trend lines I would draw, and I would honestly say that I would trade off of this one. Okay, this is much more conservative. Every trader, every technical analyst and their mom is going to be looking at that one as a megaphone pattern similar to Bitcoin. Excuse me. But if I was trading Mara, I would personally take profits over at this line, which is, again, maybe you'll lose out on a little bit of gains if it does come up from like 35 to 36, $37, but it's not going to be that meaningful. And all the smart money is probably going to be selling around here. Okay, so that's that, you guys. Please let me know, what are your May, June price targets for Riot and Mara? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Let me know why. And again, if you want to join Waves Capital, I said it was the last time I'd plug it, but this is the last time. It's the first link in the description. Appreciate you guys riding with me, and I'm excited for what the rest of the month of May and June, July, the whole summer has in store for us. Until next time, you guys, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.